She and I were together for almost 2 years. We were happy, but one day I realized something startling. If I stayed, I wouldn't lose the relationship. I would lose myself. Not in a dramatic way, quietly, through small changes that didn't look dangerous. That morning at 6, I was sitting by the window with my coffee, and I noticed something simple. My time no longer felt like mine. At this age, losing time is worse than losing love, because time doesn't come back to explain itself. So I stepped back. Not because it was easy, but because after 60, peace isn't a luxury, it's survival. Most men don't lose their lives suddenly after 60. They give them away quietly, one small adjustment at a time. Why attention after 60 becomes dangerous? I learned this lesson the hard way, not from theory, from watching men around me make the same mistake. I saw myself in them just earlier. One of them was Frank, 64, house paid off, golf every Tuesday morning. He always paid the same $8 at the clubhouse and tipped $2. Frank wasn't lonely. Nothing in his life felt rushed. And people can smell comfort. Comfort is attractive, but it's also what people slowly start leaning on. That's when the attention begins. A woman he met liked how calm his life felt. She said he was easy to be around. What she meant was his life was easy to step into. At first, it was harmless. That's how most expensive mistakes begin. Lunch once a week, a few calls in the evening. Then the calls came every morning, then before bed. Availability slowly became expected. If Frank didn't answer, it started costing him something. An expensive gift, a trip he hadn't planned, a casual remark about what he could afford. And after a while, a question crept in. Was she drawn to the man he was, or to the number sitting in his bank account? Frank wasn't tired of her. He was tired of the expectations hiding behind the compliments. After 60, attention often shows up because your life looks settled. But it is never free. It gets paid for in money, energy, and peace of mind. Stability attracts attention quickly, but only boundaries keep a man intact at this age. Freedom slips away before you notice it. You were enjoying your life on your own. Then one ordinary day, you realized something was off. Your time didn't feel like it belonged to you anymore. Ray was 70, former electrician, strong hands, quiet man. Every Friday morning, we had coffee at the same diner, same booth for years. He left exact change on the table, down to the coins. Then Ray started dating again. That's when I noticed the pattern. Little changes. Weekends were suddenly already booked. Calling him took more effort than it used to. He started missing gatherings he used to show up for. One day, Ray said something I won't forget. Not angry, not complaining, just tired. I don't even know when my time stopped being mine. At what point do you think a relationship starts taking more than it gives? If he finds a relationship that feels balanced and emotionally supportive, I'm happy for him. But most of the relationships I've watched at this age start with excitement, and not long after, many of them start feeling boxed in by the loss of freedom. Ray didn't lose his life in a dramatic moment. He lost it by slowly living around someone else's schedule. On Move or Die Stoic, we talk about these moments honestly, because most men notice them too late. After 60, the first thing a man must protect is his time. Once it's gone, the rest doesn't need much help to disappear. When her problems become yours. This took me longer to understand than I expected. Susan was a good woman, kind, thoughtful, someone I respected. But dating her meant stepping into a life that was already full. An ex-husband, grown children, parents who depended on her. Her days were spoken for before I ever arrived. At first, I accepted that. I told myself it was simply part of being involved. I believed I could help, and for a while that seemed to work. Then the cost showed up. I felt constantly tired and tense, worrying about problems that didn't belong to me, while my finances slowly began to thin. And without noticing right away, it began affecting the people closest to me. I wasn't supporting her life. I was being pulled into it. That's when I realized this wasn't love asking for care, but a life quietly handing me its weight. So I stepped back. I stopped taking on problems that weren't mine to solve. Not long after, the relationship faded. No tears, no regret. Just two people letting go when the balance was no longer there. Does any of this sound familiar to you? There's nothing wrong with dating at this stage of life. But if someone's life requires more than you can give, it's worth paying attention. At this age, protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. I save my energy for the people who truly depend on me. When you become the caretaker without agreeing to it, dating someone with too many complications is risky, but even someone without obvious baggage doesn't guarantee ease. After 60, caretaking doesn't start with a conversation. It starts with convenience. You're the one people call when something needs to be done. Not talked about. Done. That's how responsibility starts choosing you. George was 72, widower, organized, independent. One afternoon, he told me he was just helping out a bit. At first, it was simple, driving her to an appointment, making a phone call she didn't want to deal with. Then it grew. He started reminding her about medications, booking appointments, fixing problems he didn't create. One day I asked him how his week looked. He pulled out his phone and scrolled. There were no empty spaces. Every entry was something for her. I asked him a simple question. What part of that week was for you? He stared at the screen, didn't answer. You don't become a caretaker by choice. You become one when you start performing instead of resting. One favor turns into a routine. The routine turns into expectation. And before you notice, the burden quietly changes. Slowly, money starts leaving your account for things you never asked for. George didn't feel used. He felt responsible. At one point, she compared him to her friend's boyfriend and said he wasn't attentive enough. When helping comes with reminders, follow-ups, and schedules, it's no longer help. If your days are full but your life feels paused, something has already flipped. If this sounds familiar, a simple like or sharing it with someone your age helps this conversation reach the right men. The wrong relationship can steal your best years. Here's the part most men miss. After 60, things don't slow down. It just changes pace. We're no longer struggling the way we used to. Life finally feels easier. That's why society says we're having a second spring. And that's also why we're easier to tempt. Alan was my neighbor, 69. He said, "This is the first time my life actually feels mine." He told me about his plans to travel to different places and do a few meaningful things for his grandchildren. Then he started dating. Nothing bad happened. What changed was his focus. Slowly, he stopped paying attention to the things that once mattered deeply to him. He once confided in me that she stirred strong emotions in him at night. By morning, he found himself going along with whatever she wanted, but lately his health had begun to suffer. She was still young, and he was quietly wearing down. He began to worry and feel jealous that she might choose someone younger. That fear was understandable. What saddened me was this. The steady, grounded Alan I once knew no longer seemed like himself. The wrong relationship after 60 doesn't take your life away. It postpones it. Alan wasn't unhappy, he was distracted, and distraction at this age is expensive. A late night costs you the next morning, and mornings are no longer cheap. You don't have decades to start over. That isn't bitterness, it's just paying attention. Connection after 60 changes shape, not meaning. I'm not sharing all this because I'm negative about relationships after 60. It's simply a matter of being careful about who you connect with. If you're together yet feel alone because you no longer recognize your own days, that's the real tragedy. But there's another kind of connection I've seen. Two people living in their own spaces. Some weeks they were together 3 times, other weeks just once. And that was fine. Sharing a meal, a walk, a quiet evening. Then they go back to their own lives. When one of them was busy and needed to leave early, the other didn't take it personally. No apologies, no explanations. Men who've lived long enough feel better around people who don't ask where you were or why you needed a quiet day. After 60, connection widens instead of narrowing. Through brotherhood, through familiar faces that don't tug at your life, but walk beside it. Romance is no longer the main thing holding life together. It becomes optional, not essential. Most of the men I've mentioned didn't maintain long-term relationships. When a woman entered their lives with the intention of changing things, she rarely found a lasting place. This isn't giving up. It's knowing what works at this age. As men, you and I at this age have lived through more than a few relationships. Some lasted, some passed quickly, some brought real happiness. Others left wounds that never fully disappeared. After 60, every wrong choice costs more. Not just in money, but in time, energy, and peace. What matters now is simple. Does your life still feel like yours? That's why never doesn't mean fear. It means knowing the price. If this way of looking at life speaks to you, subscribing lets us keep having these conversations, one honest piece at a time. If someone enters your life and respects your rhythm, your space, and your direction, that's worth considering. If they don't, you walk away without guilt. These years are too valuable to spend explaining yourself. Protect your peace and the life you worked decades to build. That's not selfish. That's wisdom.